Good morning. Welcome to the Words of Hope. This is Velasquez, your host, and we are to study about the widow's oil in the scripture in 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 1 to 6. First and 2 Kings originally comprised one book of history, and the author is neither indicated in the text nor known by scholars. He was most likely a prophet because of many of the historical events were recorded in the light of Israel and Judah's faithfulness or unfaithfulness to God. 2 Kings chapter 4 verse 1 to 6 says, "The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried unto Elisha, Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "Your servant has nothing there at all," she said, "except a small jar of olive oil." Elisha said, "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side." She left him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another one." But they replied, "There is not jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. So, this story is about the widow's oil, which was widowed by a certain believers or by a certain prophet. We often feel powerless to change our circumstances. A spouse loses a job. A parent has a life-changing health crisis and requires a lot of assistance. A couple experiences some devastating news. The widow in 2 Kings understood these seasons. She faced a season of loss as she mourned the death of her husband. It was difficult to be a woman without a husband in those times. Waking up every day, she felt alone and abandoned in her circumstances. Hers was a season of emptiness, without a partner to share in the day-to-day decisions of parenting. She was a single mother trying to raise her children without enough income to provide. The widow lived in a season of threat. A lender was on his way to collect, and if it were not money, it was going to be her children with the intent to make them slaves. She felt powerless to keep her children from a life she did not want them to have. Like the widow in our seasons of loss, emptiness, or threat, we can focus on our misfortunes instead of counting our blessings. Her misfortune was lack of income. Her blessings, a little bit of oil. We too have a blessing in our seasons of now what? During this time, it is difficult to look past the problem and notice blessing. But when we look beyond our present circumstances, God helps us to see our blessings. We, like the widow, can look at our little bit and think it's not enough. But God looks at our little bit and says it's plenty. With a little bit of faith, the widow poured and poured and poured until every jug and bowl were filled. God knew the exact amount of oil the widow needed to cancel all her debts. He took her little bit of oil and used it to not only change the course of her life, but the lives of her children as well. God knows exactly what we need. He will take whatever small amount we have and He will multiply it to be exactly what we lack. The only thing we must do is offer ourselves as empty jugs, allowing God to pour into us what we need during this time of season. May the Lord bless you, and I would say, God bless you with whatever you have. When you surrender it to God, God will fill the lack. God bless you. Until next time, Shalom.